The new patch 1.4 for Naruto Storm Connections is really sad, guys. It's so sad. And we're gonna get into all the different reasons. Whether you think it's a good idea or bad, we can explore those things. But essentially, it's sad because everything revolves around the lack of stable online experience. A lot more people are starting to understand this. Let's go to the lever penalty. This is the big change, right? The two big changes are the lever penalty and the restanding kunai has been taken out of the game. If you don't know what that is, it's when a player got knocked down to the ground and then you could throw a kunai and instantly make them stand up into a guarding animation. Some characters were immune to this in some situations, like Han, Asuma, and a few other characters. There's about 7 or 8 characters that can do this. I think Boro is one of them as well. I made a list of it in a different video. So you throw this kunai down, they instantly stand up, and then they're stuck in a guarding animation, but they can also counter, right? So they have options. Even though they have limited options, they had options. They could counter. So if you thought that, if I'm the kunai restander, right, and I'm playing as Minato, and I knock you down with a Rasengan, then I go to you and I throw a kunai and restand you, and then I mash and I press circle. If you counter, now you've actually turned the tides. There was a risk and reward with that kunai restand that I did, right, with Minato. I'd throw it down, and then you'd stand up, and then if I decided to mash, right, and then you decided to think I was going to mash, and you read that properly, and you countered, now the whole thing gets turned around, and now what would have been me stealing your turn in many people's cases, they thought, oh, it's broken, it's easy, it's assured, it's 100% guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed in this world, right? There's a risk and reward, there's chances, there's probability. Now I'm the one getting destroyed, right? Now I have my turn stolen, and I basically gave you the turn by making a wrong play, by mashing, which is also a common term in the community, right? Mashing is sometimes a good thing, but oftentimes mashing can be bad and mashing can be punished. So you can mash when it's not punished and you're fine, but we look at that scenario and we say, well, there's a lot of times, as someone who really took this and almost completely mastered it, I didn't quite master it, but I got to an extremely high level, one of the highest levels out of any player in the game. I was going to teach you guys how to do this. I was going to teach you how to actually, the entire cycle and mechanics of this. It added a lot of personality to the game. It added a lot of depth to the game. It added a lot of risk and reward. And it gave you another mix-up option other than just jitsus. Because now you basically just have dashing, combos, and jitsus. That's basically it, right? And support jitsus, which are more jitsus. So it's very one-dimensional now. It doesn't have a lot of depth to it, and it's very boring and bland in my opinion now. People say this will drive innovation when that is not the case. Of course, you have to be creative and innovative at this point to get something out of it, but you can't squeeze, blood out of a rock, or you can't squeeze water out of a rock, right? Like, you just can't do it. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Adding that other option of a kunai restand, right? Even though people thought it was annoying or didn't like it, a lot of times it's because they didn't understand it. And once you learned to understand it, once you learned how it worked, you understood the 50-50 situation, right? Where it's a 50% chance that I get it, 50% that you get it, or a 60-40 that I get it or you get it, and I'm at a 40, you're at a 60% chance, right? Or 30-70. Once you got really, really good at it, you could probably create like a 70-30 in your favor, but that still gives the other person a chance to get out of it, but a limited chance. If you've already earned your turn by wasting 4 subs, which takes a really long time to do, right? Then it was really cool if you could get like 3 or 4 restands in a row, which is almost impossible to do. I did it a few times. Like, I maybe did it like 5 or 6 times. The chances of that happening was like less than 20%, it felt like, if you could get all of those in a row. So if the other person had 80% chance to get out of that at some point and couldn't, that's definitely a lack of knowledge and a skill diff, right? Where I outskilled you with the restands. Problem is, now the mechanic is completely deleted, taken off the table, and we can't interact with it in any way. This shows that the developers didn't believe in their game. It doesn't show that, hey, it didn't belong in the game in the first place. It just shows that they decided to take it out because it's probably not worth the trouble. They decided to take it out because the Naruto Storm community is allergic to real skill. They decided to take it out because the Naruto Storm community refuses to evolve and get better and learn and to be more like a traditional fighting game or something like a real fighting game, right? They just want basic play where anyone can be good. Even average players can be amazing at the game, and that's the opposite of skill, right? Of course, I want accessibility, and I want all people to enjoy fighting games. But when you're playing competitively and when you're playing online, this is really a non-issue. You should be aiming for, shooting for skill-based stuff and things that create risk and reward and a healthy risk and reward. So all they had to do really was, change some of those ratios a little bit if they thought it was too much of a reward and not enough of a risk. We could have interacted with this mechanic, improved upon it, made it better, but instead the community gets very emotional and just wants it gone, wants it deleted, because even though they want something new and novel and they want a new Naruto experience, they don't want to play the old Storm games. We have got like 5-6 old Storm games. We've got a lot of old Storm games we could play. They all have great mechanics, right? A lot of the great mechanics that were introduced in this game that made the game fun, we could have worked with that, right? But instead, we're just deleting it all. And it's just creating less opportunities, less mix-ups, less variation, and less fun, a lot less fun in the game, right? So that's that for restanding. But the other thing that's really, really, really important, the most important thing, is that there's a penalty for leaving, right? They give you about 4, 5, 6 chances, and then they take 100 BP from you. And if you keep leaving, that goes to 200 BP, 300, 400, 500. Eventually, if you leave, you can lose 10,000 BP per time you leave. And if you do that once or twice, that will be all the BP that most people have, because most people have less than 20,000 BP. I would say on the upper end of things, it's really, really, really severe. Like 10,000 is too much. And on the lower end of things, it's too low, right? Like it should give you maybe one warning, maybe 3 warnings at max. And then right away, you lose at least 300 BP, 500 BP, right? Because you only get about 100 BP per turn. In Overwatch, they make you lose 2.5 times to 3 times the BP last time I checked. So, or points, right? Like ranked points. When you do that, it's not a 1-to-1 ratio, right? Where, well, if I leave, I'll just lose 100 points. I would have gained it, but I'll just lose 100. That's fine. More than that and lose 200 or 300, right? Where you really get a sense of time and a sense that you lost a lot of time by doing this really bad thing. You want to be able to correct that behavior sooner than later, right? Giving too many warnings is too polite and not good. But the issue, if we can just pause and freeze time there for a second and understand something, now there's a penalty, and now you're labeled as a rule breaker, literally their own words. You are breaking rules, you're a bad player, you got caught leaving or disconnecting. They literally tell you got caught disconnecting. So you're a rule breaker and you got caught. Now this is the problem. I played last night and there were 2 games. Luckily, it wasn't against me, right? But I was in line to win both of those games. We both got ejected from the fight, and it said the player got disconnected from the fight or whatever. The connection was lost, right? The old thing. I didn't actually lose any battle points. I didn't get any warnings on that, those 2 times. But I'm pretty sure the other person did. I'm pretty sure the other person did not rage quit. I'm pretty sure the other person, there's 2 other people, right? I didn't think that they rage quit. I didn't think that they left the match. I think the game has this glitch that it used to have where it would lose the connection, right? It's not able to sustain and obtain that connection to a certain point. So it just ends the session. And it's giving a penalty to one of the players that loses the session. I don't know how it determines that. I know I didn't do anything on my end, and I really don't think that these people left or rage quit because, I do have this YouTube channel, and I knew that, for instance, that Pretty Boy Rick or whatever, he's been asking to play me, and he's been asking to, for me to see how good and strong he is and stuff like that. And he knows that a lot of times the videos may come out, like if you play me, it's not guaranteed, but Some of the videos when people play me do go up on the channel, like a lot of them do. So I'm sure he would want to show people how skilled he is, and he wouldn't want to show people that he's a rage quit or a leaver, right? So I think this happened to him where the connection dropped and it was a bug or a glitch. And what happened with Tagordi, a friend of mine, I was watching him play some ranked fights, and this happened to him like 3 or 4 times. And the really sad thing in this scenario, so in the 3 times, he actually didn't lose any BP, but the other person most likely did. And I think maybe one of those times, one of the guys rage quit on him, it looked like, or left because they didn't like the scenario. And the other guys just had this glitch happen to him, right? 2 out of 3 guys. But then, Tagordi, I watched him play this set against this guy. The matchmaking finally did this great thing where, for all the crap we give the developers and the games, they do a lot of good things. And I'll say that the matchmaking system, although it's not perfect, it does a really good job of eventually showing you and meeting up and matching 2 really good players of a similar skill level. And it allows you to meet these new people you never knew existed that maybe you wouldn't have been on at the right time, or they would have already been in another match. And so you're matching up with these people. Like there's this guy, Immortal Boss or something. I love watching these fights. First of all, it was this 2-man versus 2-man. It was a skilled 2-man versus 2-man, like my fights with Dex, my fights with Tagordi, with a lot of other people. And this is like a new guy that I didn't even know of. So this is exciting because you get to see this really skill-based guy, Immortal Boss, and Tagordi as well, who's obviously super skilled. And you get to see these fights, and Tagordi lost the first fight, and he's about to lose now. He has to get 2 rounds, right, in a row to win. And he fought like heck. He got the 1 round, so it was 1 apiece. And he was about to win in the 3rd round, and the game did the disconnecting glitch. I really don't think Immortal Boss left. And then I'm watching the screen, right, and I have the footage here. He literally did not leave. Tagordi did not leave, and you can see the whole footage uninterrupted. And then he gets a leaving penalty. Tagordi got a leaving penalty for not leaving. The game literally just gave him an L. And he earned the win. This is what I'm talking about. This game is absolute bonkers, and this series is absolutely bonkers, and it all comes back down, and it goes back to the netcode, right? Where the online stability of these Storm games is very volatile, very chaotic. It's not stable, right? And we didn't have this forced disconnection before, or this glitch, for a long time. We did have it a little bit before. It would happen sometimes, and in past games it would happen, but then it was gone for a long time. This wasn't a thing. They kind of fixed it. But now it's back with a vengeance, and this thing is going crazy. It happened to me a few times. It happened to Gordy a few times, and I see it happening to a lot of people. So this is the question to you. Guys, really think about this. How is it fair to have a disconnection penalty when the game gives you forced disconnects? The other thing is, Tagordi being the person of character that he is, the amazing person that he is, I was upset about that, and I said those exact same things to him. I said, that's horrible. I'm sorry you went through that. And he said, you know what? I don't even care about the BP. I don't really care about that too much. But what I care about is I finally found someone that was like on a similar skill level to me, that likes to play how I play too. And the game did such a good job of matchmaking us. And I never knew this person existed before, but now I'll never know. I wanted to have, even if I won or lost, I would have loved it either way, and I could have done another fight and another fight, having that 3 set. And he got robbed of that experience, that positive experience. He got robbed of just a new friend where you guys can have mutual respect and have honor and all that. Like, that whole experience in real time got stolen from him. Right? And that's what I've been saying a long time. I met a lot of these people, like Triple OG or OG Triple Triple. That guy is amazing. I want to love playing with that guy. Like, I really respect how he plays. Problem is, in the way that we met, the netcode manipulated the situation in a certain way where I could not fight back. So I left on him a couple times. And it took and then I fought him like maybe 5 to 10 times after that. And we had a lot of good games. But there was that burn there from having a bad experience before that, where I couldn't move and I couldn't do well and I couldn't accept that. And I don't want any part of that, so I'm leaving. Which leads me to my point where people may not be able to put it into words, they may not be able to articulate it, but the number one reason why people left games ever in any Storm game is because they had lag disadvantage, meaning they lagged more than the other person, or there were lag spikes or button inputs being eaten up where they don't come through. And at a very, very high level, if that happens one time, forget 2 or 3 times. For sure, 2 or 3 times. For sure, 4, 5, 6 times. If that happens, it's dead. But if it happens one time, right, and I'm playing myself, I'll beat myself every time, right? So you got to think about that, right? Where the game is handicapping one player over the other. It's been proven many times. So just overall, the stability of this game is very volatile. It creates fake games. It ruins relationships. It ruins friendships that have been going on for a very long time. And it also ruins the potential of future friendships, or, whether you're even just having a professional relationship, you're not really, super friends like that, where you're very close and you tell each other everything. At the very least, you could be, sparring buddies and be online friends and be cool like that. And, maybe just a lot of times people play these games just to have a break from work or reality or whatever, right? Or a lot of the people do this because they like figuring out puzzles. A lot of people play these games because they like strategy. A lot of people play these games just because they love the anime and they're anime fans and they just want to play the characters that they like. A lot of the people here really are just casuals that just want to enjoy the game, but you cannot do that without a stable netcode. And now you're being punished when you don't even leave. You're being punished for trying to form good relationships. You're being punished when you're staying in the game. The game says no. I won't let you play me. You are out. I'm ejecting you. But what did I do, ref? What did I do? You know what you did. You're out. It's like you literally didn't do anything, and it's done. You're sitting on the bench, and now you can't even play the game. And people misinterpret a lot of times, including myself. And it takes a lot of learning, looking, understanding to see what really happens here. The other thing is, people ask me, is the online stability better? Of course, in that way it's not, but maybe it's actually better overall. And what I'll say is, at the very, very low end of things, right? Because you can now select for only blue bars, typically by some positive percentage, I think it's only a little bit, it's not a lot like you think it is. Yeah, it is better because you can only choose to play blue bars. The yellow bars feel a lot worse than yellow bars used to be, though. And I'll say, obviously, I don't have to play red bars, which is fantastic. But blue bars lie. We all know this, right? And what I'll say is that the game looks like it's better. It's become a chameleon, right? It looks like it looks and feels better, but at the same time, it's hiding it. It really just became better at hiding that the connection is bad. So it hasn't really fixed it yet. It's not really better overall, it's just different. And there's less ways now to check the signs. Luckily, I have a lot of footage from the past where I can show you the signs like whiffed air combos, your guard opening up on the ground, chakra dash is not coming out, support chakra dash is not coming out, jitsu's not being buffered. Oh, a good one that now is happening is that tags are not tracking and they'll just go past the person and hit the ground. So there's a lot of things that are really not great about this patch. There's a lot of things that are sad about this patch. And perhaps the saddest thing of all is that we're not coming together and uniting and in terms of understanding and working through these issues. A lot of people just get stuck to a certain level of reasoning and critical thinking, and they can't get beyond that because they can't get beyond potentially their own experience, right? Where they don't realize that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not just bad, 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 get it away. It's like we're kids again, and we're hiding under the blanket in our bedtime without a light lamp or something, and we're just so scared that of the dark that they think that the monsters are going to come and get us, so we're hiding under the blankets. The monsters aren't going to come to get you. There's no monsters. Chill out. You're gonna be fine. In some cases, yeah, there are, but in most cases, that fear is just something that we blow up, exaggerate, and then it consumes us. The anxiety, the fear, it consumes us. And with knowledge, with understanding, we can really understand what things are for what the good and bad they are, and we can take them on head on, right? But instead, we're just saying, no, 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 get rid of it. I don't want to be in that scenario where I'm going to bed at night, a little kid, and I'm scared that a monster is going to come and get me from under the bed or whatever. Guys, come on. We need to work through this stuff and be reasonable. I hope you have a fantastic day, an amazing day. If not, I hope it gets better for you soon.